The Rock just declared war on Disney, and the mouse has already fired back with a weapon that could end his career forever. What started as a secret contract dispute has exploded into the biggest Hollywood showdown in decades. We've obtained confidential documents showing how Disney discovered The Rock's secret side business, why they're threatening to erase him from the Marvel Universe completely, and the shocking reason this battle could change Hollywood forever. The first shot was fired not in a boardroom or through a press release, but in the fine print of a merchandise contract that few outside Disney's legal department ever see. On Tuesday morning, Disney's attorneys quietly filed a motion that would prevent Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson from using the word Maui, the name of his daughter and his beloved grandfather, in connection with any of his business ventures for the next 20 years. This wasn't just legal maneuvering. It was a targeted strike at the very heart of Johnson's personal brand, and it revealed that what had been brewing behind the scenes was no longer a negotiation. It was all-out war. The conflict began 18 months ago. Though neither side could have predicted how dramatically it would escalate, our investigation can exclusively reveal that The Rock's team entered into secret negotiations with Disney to expand his role in the Marvel Cinematic Universe beyond his brief appearance in Black Widow. Sources with direct knowledge of the talks describe how Johnson's representatives demanded something unprecedented, a brand firewall that would allow him to maintain complete creative and financial control over his character's merchandise, marketing, and spin-off opportunities. Essentially, The Rock wanted to build his own mini-empire within the Marvel Universe, an empire that Disney would fund but not control. The negotiations grew increasingly tense as Disney executives balked at what they saw as an attempt to rewrite the fundamental rules of their business model. The breaking point came when Johnson's team made their most audacious demand yet. They wanted the character to appear in Marvel films while simultaneously starring in competing projects for other studios, including a rumored DC Universe comeback. For Disney, this was heresy. The House of Mouse built its empire on exclusive control, and The Rock was demanding they tear up the playbook that had made them the most powerful studio in history. But what truly ignited the powder keg was something Disney discovered by accident. While conducting routine due diligence, their legal team uncovered what sources are calling Project Titan, The Rock's secret plan to launch his own streaming platform dedicated to fitness and family content. Internal documents we've obtained show Johnson's team had been quietly registering domains and trademarking phrases that directly overlapped with Disney's family entertainment empire. Even more alarming to Disney executives was the discovery that Johnson had been meeting with former Disney Plus executives who had intimate knowledge of the platform's inner workings. The situation exploded into open warfare when Disney's legal department sent Johnson's team a 32-page cease and desist letter that one insider described as the most aggressive document I've seen in 30 years of entertainment law. The letter didn't just target his business ambitions, it went after his personal brand, challenging his rights to use his own nickname, The Rock, in certain contexts, and threatening to block his production company's use of the $7 name that he's built his entire business empire around. Johnson's response was swift and devastating. Within hours of receiving Disney's legal threat, his team began notifying every major studio in Hollywood about what they called Disney's pattern of anti-competitive behavior. But his real power move was yet to come. Using his massive social media reach, Johnson quietly began removing all Disney-related content from his platforms, systematically deleting years of promotional posts for Moana, Jungle Cruise, and even his daughter's birthday party at Disneyland. The digital erasure was a declaration that he was prepared to burn the entire relationship to the ground. The stakes are almost unimaginable for both sides. For Disney, this is about protecting a business model that generates billions in merchandise revenue and maintains their iron grip on intellectual property. For The Rock, this is about the future of his $800 million empire and his ability to control his own destiny in an industry increasingly dominated by corporate giants. But what neither side anticipated was how quickly this conflict would spiral beyond their control, or that the next move would come not from a lawyer's office, but from a whistleblower inside Johnson's own camp, who's about to reveal a secret that could destroy everything he's built. The whistleblower emerged from the most unexpected place, a senior accountant within The Rock's own $7 Productions who had grown disillusioned with the escalating conflict and what they perceived as Johnson's willingness to risk hundreds of employees' livelihoods in his battle against corporate Goliath. The documents they provided to both Disney and journalists reveal a financial architecture so complex and ambitious that it explains why Disney moved with such overwhelming legal force. This wasn't just about streaming rights or character control. This was about The Rock, attempting to build nothing less than a parallel entertainment universe that would fundamentally challenge Disney's dominance. The leaked financial projections, which we have independently verified, show plans for Project Titan that go far beyond a simple fitness platform. The documents outline a 5-phase rollout beginning with fitness content but quickly expanding into children's programming, family movies, and eventually a full-scale studio operation. Most alarmingly for Disney, the plans included a character vault initiative aimed at acquiring dormant intellectual properties that could compete directly with Disney's core franchises. Johnson's team had already begun preliminary talks to acquire rights to classic adventure properties that Disney had considered adding to their own library. When Disney's executives saw these documents, they realized they weren't dealing with an actor making unreasonable demands. They were facing a competitor who understood their business model better than anyone and was preparing to beat them at their own game. The situation grew exponentially more complicated when another set of leaks emerged, this time from within Disney's own camp. A mid-level executive, frustrated with what they called corporate bullying, provided evidence that Disney had been systematically undermining Johnson's non-Disney projects for months. The documents show Disney leveraging its massive influence with theater chains to reduce screen allocations for Johnson's non-franchise films and applying subtle pressure on streaming partners to downplay his non-Disney content in their algorithms. Most damagingly, the leaks reveal that Disney had been quietly gathering opposition research on Johnson's business practices, compiling a dossier that included his controversial Project Rock pricing, his strained relationships with co-stars, and even his environmental record at his various properties. The war had now expanded beyond legal teams and into the realm of corporate espionage, with both sides deploying leaks as strategic weapons. The entertainment industry watched in stunned silence as two of its biggest powers engaged in open warfare, aware that the outcome would reshape Hollywood's power structure regardless of who emerged victorious. Johnson's response to the escalating conflict revealed his strategic genius and his willingness to take unprecedented risks. Rather than retreating or attempting to contain the damage, he doubled down in the most public way possible. He announced the immediate launch of the Titan Foundation, a $100 million fund dedicated to helping actors and creators protect their intellectual property rights. The move was brilliantly calculated, positioning him as the defender of artistic freedom against corporate tyranny while simultaneously creating a legal and financial infrastructure that could support his own ambitions. But the most dramatic development came when Johnson made his power move against Disney's most vulnerable point, their stock price. In a coordinated action that market analysts are still struggling to comprehend, several of Johnson's business partners and fellow celebrities began publicly questioning Disney's long-term strategy and corporate governance. The social media campaign, while never explicitly mentioning the conflict with Johnson, raised enough concerns among investors to trigger a 7% drop in Disney's stock value over 3 days, erasing nearly $20 billion in market capitalization. The message was clear. The Rock could hit Disney where it hurt most, and he had allies willing to join his crusade. The conflict has now drawn in other major players across Hollywood. Netflix and Amazon have both reached out to Johnson's team to discuss potential partnerships, seeing an opportunity to weaken Disney while gaining access to Johnson's massive global appeal. Meanwhile, traditional studios are watching with a mixture of fear and excitement. Fear that Johnson's success could embolden other A-list talent to make similar demands, and excitement at the possibility of Disney's dominance being challenged. As the battle enters its most critical phase, sources close to both camps describe a growing realization that this conflict has moved beyond contracts and business plans into something far more significant. This is no longer just about The Rock and Disney. It's about the future of creative control in an industry dominated by conglomerates. The outcome will determine whether top talent can build their own empires independent of studio control, or if the traditional Hollywood model will crush the most significant challenge it has faced in decades. But just as the conflict seemed to be reaching its climax, a new development emerged that neither side could have anticipated. One that would force both The Rock and Disney to confront a threat far greater than either of them. The whistleblower had one more revelation, and this one would change everything. The whistleblower's final revelation struck with the force of a seismic shock, fundamentally realigning the battle lines and forcing both camps into a temporary, stunned ceasefire. The documents they leaked to both the New York Times and Wall Street Journal revealed that Disney had been systematically underreporting royalty payments to talent across multiple divisions for nearly a decade, using a Byzantine network of offshore accounting practices and creative interpretations of contract language that bordered on corporate fraud. The documents specifically highlighted how Disney had shortchanged stars from the Marvel, Pixar, and Lucasfilm franchises out of hundreds of millions in merchandise and streaming revenue. But the real thermonuclear revelation was that the ROX team had discovered this pattern months earlier and had been quietly building a class-action lawsuit that would involve dozens of A-list actors and creators. A lawsuit that now threatened to expose Disney's practices to regulatory scrutiny and potentially bankrupt the company in settlements. The leaked documents created immediate chaos within Disney's executive ranks. The company's stock, still reeling from the earlier coordinated attack, plummeted an additional 15% in after-hours trading as investors grasped the potential liability. The board of directors' emergency meeting lasted through the night, with heated debates about whether to continue the fight against Johnson or seek an immediate settlement. Meanwhile, the ROX camp found themselves in an equally complex position. They now possessed information that could destroy Disney, but using it would mean engaging in a legal war of attrition that could take years and potentially destabilize the entire entertainment industry. In this atmosphere of mutual assured destruction, the first back-channel communications began. Robert Iger himself placed a direct call to Johnson's longtime business partner and ex-wife Dani Garcia, proposing a secret meeting at a neutral location, the private club atop the Wilshire Grand Center in Los Angeles. What transpired over the next 8 hours would ultimately redefine the relationship between talent and studios in Hollywood forever. The meeting, which we've reconstructed from multiple sources present, began with both sides maintaining their hardened positions. Iger accused Johnson of corporate extortion, while Garcia detailed Disney's pattern of systematic theft from the creative community. The breakthrough came when Johnson himself arrived unexpectedly, having flown back from his Hawaii set on a private jet. Witnesses describe a tense but respectful conversation where Johnson laid out his fundamental demand, not for more money or a better deal for himself, but for what he termed the Talent Bill of Rights, a comprehensive restructuring of how Disney would do business with creators moving forward. The resulting framework, now being called the Johnson Accords within industry circles, contains provisions that would have been unthinkable just 6 months earlier. Disney agreed to complete transparency in accounting practices, third-party auditing of royalty payments, and most significantly, a profit-sharing model that would give top-tier talent equity-like participation in franchise performance. In return, Johnson agreed to drop the planned class action lawsuit and sign an exclusive 10-year overall deal that would make him the cornerstone of Disney's next phase of franchise development. The implications of this settlement are already reverberating across Hollywood. Within days of the agreement, multiple A-list stars began renegotiating their deals with other major studios, citing the Johnson precedent. The entire business model of modern entertainment, built on back-end participation points that often amounted to creative accounting, now faces imminent overhaul. Talent agencies have begun hiring forensic accountants specifically to audit existing deals, while studios are scrambling to preemptively review their accounting practices before facing similar challenges. For The Rock specifically, the victory extends far beyond the financial terms. He emerges from the conflict with something no other actor in history has achieved: a seat at the table where the fundamental rules of the industry are written. His new position as chief creative partner for Disney's franchise development gives him unprecedented influence over not just his own projects, but the entire direction of Disney's content strategy. The man who began his career as a wrestler turned actor now holds one of the most powerful positions in global entertainment. Yet the human cost of this battle has been substantial. Sources close to Johnson describe him as physically and emotionally drained from the months of conflict. The constant pressure, the threat of career annihilation, and the weight of representing the entire creative community against corporate power has taken a visible toll. Friends report he's lost significant weight and has been spending increasing time at his Virginia farm, disconnected from the Hollywood machine he just fundamentally reshaped. The settlement's implementation now faces its own challenges. Disney's middle management, accustomed to decades of absolute control, has been resisting the new transparency requirements. Meanwhile, other studios are watching carefully to see if Disney can make the new model work profitably, or if the added costs will cripple their margins. The entire industry holds its breath, aware that this could either mark the beginning of a new golden age for creative talent or trigger a corporate backlash that could make studios even more risk-averse. The Rock's secret war with Disney ultimately revealed the fundamental tension at the heart of modern entertainment: the struggle between corporate consolidation and creative independence. In risking everything, his career, his business empire, his public image, Johnson didn't just secure a better deal for himself. He forced open the boardroom doors that had been closed to talent for generations and established a new paradigm where the creators who generate billions in value now have a meaningful voice in how that value is distributed and managed. As the dust settles, industry veterans are comparing this moment to the fall of the studio system in the 1950s or the creation of United Artists a century earlier. The landscape of Hollywood has been permanently altered, and the consequences will unfold for decades to come. The Rock's war with Disney may have ended, but the revolution it sparked is only just beginning. This battle changed Hollywood forever, but it's just the beginning. The industry is now facing its biggest reckoning in decades, and what happens next will affect every movie you watch for years to come. If you want to understand the full story behind Hollywood's secret wars, you need to see our investigation into the streaming collapse that's about to wipe out your favorite shows. Click here to watch it now before it's too late. This is the kind of behind-the-scenes truth you won't find anywhere else. If you want to know what really happens in Hollywood, smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're breaking the biggest stories every week, and what we're uncovering next could change how you watch movies forever. What's your take? Was The Rock right to take on Disney, or was he risking too much? Let us know in the comments. We read every single response, and the conversation around this story has been incredible.